I will call to order tonight our regular scheduled city council meeting of August the 21st, 2023 at approximately 7 p.m. Let the records reflect that all members of council are present, along with our city attorney, Mr. Dugan, our city administrator, Mr. Duncan, and our city clerk who keeps us all straight, Ms. Miller, along with various department heads. We appreciate everyone being here, and more than anything, we appreciate you as our citizens being here. This is a good crowd for August. If I had to take a guess, it probably involves some youth. So we're always glad that they're here and your parents are here. And once that portion of the program is over, don't feel embarrassed if you decide to leave. It happens quite often once we get that part done. So again, we appreciate you being here, and an original phrase that we're all familiar with, as always, go Mal. Got it. We got that one done. Also, the next item on our agenda, of course, is our invocation and pledge of allegiance, and I would ask Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Those who wish to pray, please bow with me now. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather tonight, we ask for your blessing upon our meeting. We ask for your guidance so that we may conduct our meeting in a way that's pleasing in your eyes. Tonight, we are especially thankful for the service of Captain Boyd, who served our Mauldin Police Department and our citizens for over 26 years. We ask that you guide her as she enters into the next phase of her life of retirement. Lord, we ask that you be with all of our students, parents, teachers, as we enter into a new school year. We pray for your continued guidance, not only in our meeting tonight, but in the days and weeks to come. It's in your name I pray. Amen. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. King. One of the great privileges as mayor is for the next item of proclamation presentation. So I would ask Ms. King and Chief Miller, Seth, if you join me down front. Actually, for the third or fourth time, I will tell this particular person that retirement has been canceled. As Ms. King alluded to a moment ago, this is a bittersweet time for all of us up here. We've come to know Cara for all the years that she's been here and as she's progressed through the ranks. And those of us who've been around know that it's Carol and it's Terry, but then we get titles, and she has the title of captain. And she has a gun to prove it, so she's captain. That's fine with me. Come if you want to read this. Come on up here, Captain Boyd. I'll read it real slow too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Can you tell?
Whereas Captain Cara Boyd will retire on September 15th, 2029, 2023, after 26 years of service to the citizens and city of Mauldin. And whereas Captain Boyd completed the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy, along with numerous trainings and certifications that allowed her to rise through the ranks to become a captain with the Mauldin Police Department. And whereas Captain Boyd has served the city of Mauldin and the citizens of Mauldin as a member of the Mauldin Police Department for 26 years with dedication to the service of others. And whereas Captain Boyd was responsible for overseeing the daily operations of the city's patrol units for 3 years. having significantly assisted in the police department's rapid expansion and restructuring. And whereas Captain Boyd dedicated her life to her profession and the protection of the city's citizens and businesses by performing her task with focus, precision, and dedication. And whereas Captain Boyd has unknowingly touched the lives of countless families throughout the city of Mauldin and served as a shining example of devotion, leadership, friendship, and loyalty for others to follow. Now, therefore, I, Terry Merritt, Mayor of the City of Mauldin, South Carolina, joined by the City Council of the City of Mauldin, do hereby recognize and congratulate Carl Boyd on her retirement and thank her for her dedicated and outstanding service to our community. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand this 21st day of August, 2023. Thank you, Carol. You notice the plaque is also in the form of a tear because there are many of us up here that have a tear for seeing her go. So she's been an awesome addition to our city. And so thank you again for everything. This council thanks you. Cara, it was a syrup, wasn't it? Carob syrup. Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Coach Quaid, you want to join me up here also now? By unanimous consent, he was outvoted. Peyton, you got to come up here now. He's going first. Mr. Allgood joins us as Chair of Recreations. In that. Whereas Peyton Fisher is a wrestler at Mauldin High School, and whereas Peyton Fisher had a record of 56-3 in the 195-pound weight class in high school wrestling. Whereas the South Carolina High School League had a tournament on February 25th, 2023, and Peyton Fisher won first place and was named, get ready, the boys wrestling state champion in the 195-pound weight class. And whereas this is Mauldin High School's first boys wrestling championship since 2003. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Terry Merritt, Mayor of the City of Mauldin, along with my fellow council members, are proud of Mauldin High School wrestler Peyton Fisher, accomplishments, and recognize him for winning the SCHSL state championship for his weight class. I'll let you present the plaque. Bianca. She said she got to go second because she's in the lower weight class. I made that up, didn't I? Whereas Bianca Cornell is a wrestler at Mauldin High School, and whereas Bianca Cornell wrestles in the 152-pound weight class in high school wrestling, and whereas the South Carolina High School League held their 2023 tournament, Bianca Cornell won first place and was named the girls wrestling state champion in the 152-pound weight class. And whereas this is Mauldin High School's first girls ever, now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Terry Mayor of the City of Mauldin, along with my fellow council members, are proud of Mauldin High School wrestler Bianca Cornell's accomplishments and recognize her for winning the SCHSL state championship for her weight class. And we'll never finish this without Mr. Matney doing the famous. Well, no, but you're representing him.
And as always, go Mavs.
All right, got it. Thank you, guys.
Anyone else think Bianca could take the mayor? Too little time.
Was lighter than Peyton. I look like a midget.
I remember him when he was little. He's not little anymore.
He is not. All right, now to our regularly scheduled programming. Reading and approval of the minutes, City Council meeting July the 17th, 2023. All of you should have had that in your packet since Thursday or Friday and have a chance to read that. If there are any corrections or adjustments, additions that should be noted in the minutes? If not, I'll ask for unanimous consent on that. Hearing no objection, we will accept the minutes as submitted. Thank you. Report from our city administrator, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I've got a few items for everyone tonight, so I'll try to be brief and quick on these. But great news to share and some great things coming up. So first off, since announcing a call for ideas, names, and suggestions from the public to help City Council name our soon-to-open pedestrian bridge over 385, we received more than 2,000 responses from the public. We really appreciate the feedback and engagement from the community members and encourage anyone who'd still like to weigh in to do so before 5 p.m. on September 5th. You can go to our website, you can go to Facebook and a few other places as well and drop those ideas and suggestions. And we really appreciate the outreach that we've had and the response we've had so far. Next up, this Thursday, the Mauldin Cultural Center will host an open house on Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. The event will allow residents to learn more about the Cultural Center has to offer and what's coming up next for as far as events in the theater program. MCC staff, class instructors, and the community groups will be on site to share more about themselves and to answer questions. For those who may not know, the Mauldin Cultural Center is located at 101 East Butler Road. Next up, tickets went on sale today for Hunchback of Notre Dame. That is the kickoff to our 2023-2024 theater season. We're very excited about this show. The show will feature more than 50 talented actors and singers as they bring Victor Hugo's story to life, as well as sing the score of the 1996 Oscar-nominated Disney movie. Tickets are available today online, and the show will run for 2 weeks in September 21st through 24th, and September 28th through October 1st. And from what I hear, tickets are going fast, so be sure to get yours. The next big thing we've got coming up in September is our 13th annual barbecue cook-off called Suey. So we're very excited about that. It's right around the corner. This year's event will start Friday, September 15th at 6 p.m. and run through Saturday, September 16th. This event is presented by South Carolina Federal Credit Union, so appreciate their sponsorship on that. Cook-off opens Friday afternoon at 6 p.m. with our Anything But competition, in which participating cookers serve tasty dishes and desserts. On Saturday, starting at 11, the barbecue teams will get down to business as they put their best plate forward. Guests can sample award-winning barbecue by purchasing ticket tasting passes and exchanging them for samples of savory pork. In addition to delicious food, visitors can also enjoy a family-friendly and kid and pet zone, live music all day long, and specialty vendors. Guests can also donate blood and will actually be given a gift card if they do so, and some free Suey tasting tickets. So come out if you are able and donate blood too. The cook-off will conclude on Saturday at 3 p.m. with the crowning of winners by the South Carolina Barbecue Association, as well as the winner of the Gabe Hunter People's Choice Award as determined by guests themselves. Tasting tickets will be $1 per ticket and be sold in sheets of 5. Most samples will be priced 2 to 6 tickets, and so be sure to buy plenty of tickets in order to try all the food. Tickets will be accepted by both the barbecue cookers and the food vendors that are there as well. So that'll be great. So nobody's tickets will go to waste. Last thing I have on here tonight is that Miss Wendy Bagley has been hired as the city's next senior center manager. Wendy comes to the city of Mauldin, senior center with 17 years in senior program experience from Knox County, Tennessee. Miss Wendy administered numerous programs with Knox County that included senior daycare operations, event programming, exercise classes, and food programs. Wendy oversaw Knox County Office of Aging Program's first ever state regulatory license attempt with 100% compliance rating. She brings with her vast knowledge of grant writing and grant administration, and has a passion for working with seniors. And she started today with us. So if you haven't had a chance to see her yet, she's going to be down there at the senior center. So we welcome her aboard and look forward to where she goes or what she's able to accomplish in that new role. So that's my report, sir.
Skipped over the public comment. There was no public comment for items on the agenda. I didn't have you check for Zoom though, so I didn't know if anyone's there.
We're still good, sir. Yeah.
No one's got their hand raised, so we're good. All right, we'll have another public comment area coming up near the end, and I'll hold Mr. Ice for that one. I got you right here. Next item is reports from our standing committees, our Finance and Policy Chairman Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I wanted to comment was in our weekly report a few weeks ago about the Finance Department receiving a popular annual financial report award from the Governor Financial Officers Association. This award is something that shows that our PAFR has substantially met the requirements of the PAFR program based on an evaluation of information presented, reader appeal, understandability, and distribution. So thank you, Ms. Abercrombie, for, I think that's the second time we've gotten that in the last few years. So thank you for your hard work on that. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Public Safety Chairperson King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I'd like to report out is that our new headquarters for the fire department and police substation, I think we're a couple of weeks, 4 weeks out on completion. So if you have not gone by, I know several of you have already gone for your tour to see it with Chief McCollum, but it's about 21,000 square feet of amazement. So I'm thinking we're Chief starting move in fourth quarter of this year. So ride by and see the finished product. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. King. Public Works Chairperson Traylon.
Yes, just a small report. We've gotten our last 2 of our sidearm trucks that we ordered in. Of course, they have to be set up for us. So probably won't be seeing him until closer to the end of the year.
Sir? Economic Plan and Development Chairperson Matney.
Beautiful day in the city of Mauldin, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Building Codes Chairperson Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A construction permit was issued in July for Table 301, which is going to be located in Bridgeway Station. It's exciting. There were a number of issued permits. It was down in July compared to June, and we had 3 new businesses open in July. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Recreation Chairperson Allgood.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything to report. Mr. Duncan stole my thunder.
You got that. All right, next item on the agenda is unfinished business, ordinance of second reading. Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to pass on second reading an ordinance that amends the business license fee abatement incentive program.
All right, I believe that's coming to us from Economic Development, Mr. Matney.
It is, Mayor, and move that on second reading, we approve an amendment to Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 53, Business License Fee Abatement Incentive Program to encourage and incentivize private capital investment of corporate and regional headquarters within the city and to authorize alternative abatement incentive programs for economic development projects.
I have a motion from Mr. Matney. Is there a second? Have a second from, is that Mr. Craylin? All right, from Mr. Craylin. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor of the motion to approve on second reading the amendments to section 10-53, A5 and everything else Mr. Matney said. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hear none, the motion carries unanimous. Item, Ms. Miller.
Next item is ordinance 1021, an ordinance to provide for the annexation of property owned by Charles Michael Hendricks and located at 2114 and 2118 Standing Springs Road by 100% petition method and to establish a zoning classification of R10 residential for said property.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Miller. I believe that is coming from. Turn the page too quick. Business Development and Services, Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The applicant has requested that we delay this reading until September the 18th. So I make a motion that we delay it until September 18th.
Second.
So I have a second with Mr. Matney. Okay, so there's a motion to hold the ordinance 1021 on second reading until September. Is there any other comments?
Clarification, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Reynolds?
September 18th is the next council meeting.
I defer, is that September the 18th? Okay, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all those favor in the motion to hold until September the 18th, the ordinance 1021 on second reading, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries to hold. Okay, Ms. Miller, new business, first readings.
There's one ordinance for first reading tonight. That's an ordinance to rezone property consisting of approximately 6 acres located at Ashmore Bridge Road and Fort Shoals Road, portions of tax map parcels 0411.00-01-001.00 and all of lots 678 through 694 of Arden Woods Phase 6 and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. I believe that's coming from Business Development Services, Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is being expanded for, I guess they're wanting to put a, grocery store on that property. So at this time, I will make a motion to approve the, expansion of the C2 zoning at Arden Woods Commercial Out Parcel.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Reynolds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the expansion, C2 zoning in Ardenwood's commercial, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Next item, Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to adopt the attached or the resolution in compliance with rules as dictated by the Municipal Association in order to apply for the Hometown Economic Development Grant for City Center Village Master Plan.
Can't believe that's coming from Economic Development. Mr. Matney.
Thank you, Mayor. Move that we approve the resolution, committing the City of Mauldin providing the local match for Municipal Association of South Carolina Ground Hometown Economic Development Grant and following its procurement policy when securing services and products with grant funds.
Yeah, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Crayling. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution as Mr. Matney laid out for us, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to approve an agreement for school resource officers with Greenville County for the school year 23-24.
That's coming from Public Safety. Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make the motion to accept the school resource officer agreement with Greenville County School District for the school year 2023-2024.
I have a motion, Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Crayling. Is there any discussion? Did we catch that change? Okay. Sorry, I didn't go back and even look at.
It's changed in the copy that I have for you to sign.
Oh, okay.
Not in,
I'll trust you.
I'll show you.
Was just a typo to correct the school year from 22 to 23, 24. Got that change done, so we're good. All right, no other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to accept the school resource officer agreement with Greenville County School District, say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Right. Next item is Miller.
Council is requested to adopt the intergovernmental agreement for rules and responsibilities under NPDES municipal stormwater permit between the City of Mauldin and Greenville County.
I believe that's coming from Public Works, Mr. Crayling.
It's time I'd like to make a motion for council to approve the intergovernmental agreement for roles and responsibilities under NPDES municipal stormwater permits between the City of Mauldin and Greenville County.
We have a motion from Mr. Crayling. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. King. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement for stormwater, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to appropriate an additional $1,531,573 from the Capital Fund balance for the streetscape project on Jenkins Street and Jenkins Court in accordance with the GLDTC project agreement 586.
Thank you. That's coming from Public Works also. Mr. Crayland. I'd like to make a motion for council to appropriate an additional $1,531,573 from the capital fund balance for the streetscape project on Jenkins Street Court in accordance with the GLDTC project amendment 586.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. King. Is there any discussion? Mr. Allgood.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Duncan, do you know, have we it says here that we have 3.5 million in the unassigned capital fund. Has staff discussed any other uses of that fund?
As far as any direct appropriation for any other project,
Correct.
I would have to ask Ms. Abercrombie. Have we earmarked, that's just total unassigned, so there's no other assigned uses of the capital fund balance at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All good? Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to appropriate an additional 1,531,573 from the capital fund balance for the streetscape project on Jenkins Street and Jenkins Court in accordance with GLDTC project amendment 586, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to approve Amendment 5 to the agreement dated March 17th, 2015 between the City of Mauldin and Fraser Engineering, PA, now CHA Consulting.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Also Public Works, Mr. Krayland.
This time I'd like to make a motion for the council to approve the amendment 5 to the agreement dated March 17th, 2015 between City of Mauldin and Fraser Engineering, PA, which is now CHA Consulting.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second for Ms. Kern. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve amendment number 5 to the agreement dated March 15, 2015 between City of Mauldin and Fraser Engineering, PA, now CHA Consultant, Inc., say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to consider Keller Williams Real Estate Business License late fee.
Yeah, I believe that will be coming from Finance Policy, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The information for this is in your packet. This was discussed in the committee meeting and forwarded to council without a recommendation. So I think it prudent as we look at this is something that all of council should consider. And at that point, I really want to give a moment for other council members to give some thoughts on this item. So the way I see it, just before we start, the way I see, we have a couple of options. We can deny the request. Now, clarification, this is strictly for the business license late fee for 2023. Keller Williams has paid the remaining portion of the protested amount. So we've got a couple of options as I look at it. We can deny the request for the 20% waiving of the late fees. We can approve waiving the entire amount, or we can do a portion of it. So like I said, this came out of committee without a recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
I understand, Mr. Reynolds, you're asking for a discussion to be held on the floor prior to any motion possibly being forwarded.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Normally we would like to have a motion to discuss. Is there any objection from council to have a general discussion among ourselves? Okay. Hearing none, then the floor is open for discussion as Mr. Reynolds just laid out on your opinions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start first. I think this is one of those situations that with Keller Williams being a long-term business, they have paid the remaining portion of the balance owed. I do think as a good faith effort with a long-standing business, it would be prudent for us to, at minimum, waive a portion of the late fees considered. So as I look at it, I would be looking to ask for council to waive 50% or drop it to 5%, some number in there. I also think it's prudent to make sure that as our business department does their business, there's a certain cost affixated to having to go back and file paperwork. And that's the point, I think, of the late fee. So as I look at it, I'd like to at least put out there that we give consideration to, at minimum, waiving a portion of this. and just wanted to hear some feedback from my colleagues.
Any other comments, discussions? The only thing that I'll add, from my point of view, is the fact that in May, we decided that we need a legal opinion on this process and as it's going forward. So we're pursuing that. Notwithstanding that, there was no ambiguity about when a new business license was due and the process that you need to go through. If we do anything other than continuing that process, we're setting the precedents, which I would hate to see us do. We decided in May, this council, to seek a legal opinion that we don't know, and we think we're on good, solid footing, but there's a question. And in due diligence, we want to get the courts to weigh in at, and I think that process should go forward. It was clear what the process should have been, and no one should have misunderstood what the process was. Our business license are due to be renewed, as they always have been as long as I've been up here. So there was no ambiguity there. So to me, I would ask us just to move forward with the litigation, and there should be no waiver of any fees this might have accrued between now and then. And I believe they did note that they did pay the 80% under protest, which is the process, and it's defined, and that's the one we started in May in that process. So I would ask us to consider that we move forward and let the courts decide. My 2 cents worth. Reynolds.
Mr. Mayor, I don't disagree actually in any way. I think the way I've kind of looked at this is trying to handle it as two separate issues. The previous one, the 2022, has been handled. This is for 2023. And again, I look at it as a long-term business that I think it's prudent of us to try to make the best relationship that we can, even in contentious situations. So I completely agree that in terms of 2022s, that needs to go whatever route that legal has that going, as well as the business owner. But I kind of took this and took it strictly for 2023 business license tax amount. And that was my school of thought on saying, I believe there should be some abatement for our long-term business partner.
Mr. Reynolds. Anyone else? Mr. Craven.
My only thought on this is, we may want to have an executive session, so we talk with council, specifically. I'd just like to know, is there any risk to the city, where that all plays in as well? Just like to have that conversation. I just got here without having, with the privilege of council.
Anyone else? Do you consider a motion at this time?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I don't mind making a motion for having a partial waiver of late fees. Currently, the late fees are 5% for each month. It's May, June, July, August, 5% each month at 20%. I would ask council to consider only having a late fee for the May period, which would put that at 5%, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Reynolds. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Allgood. Sorry about that. Any discussion? Great.
I just, I'll be voting no on this primarily just because I would like to have a discussion with our attorney before I really voted on it.
We have the motion, so any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion to perform a partial waiver of late fees for, I guess that's 2023, for May.
The The waiver, Mr. Mayor, would be for June, July, and August.
Okay, so the waiver is for June, July, and August. So there would be a late fee for May.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so the motion is partial waiver of late fees for the accrual period of June, July, and August. It would result only in a 5% late fee for May of 2023.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Or no.
So
Sorry.
did you get that clear, or do we need the roll call? You got it? Okay. 3. All right, so the motion carries 4-3. Is that what you had? Got it. All right. Next item, Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to approve signing a contractual agreement with Dex Imaging for copier services for the senior center and the sports center.
Okay, I believe this is coming from finance also, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the signing of a contractual agreement with Dex that would bring the Recreation Department copier services in line with the previously approved contract for the Cultural Center, Judicial, Sports, and Senior Center. This will actually be a saving of about $500 a month. The total cost will be $1,063.41 per month. Includes all services, parts, supplies, and maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the signing of a contractual agreement with Deck Imaging or the 3 Recreation Department copier services, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimous. Back to you, Ms. Miller.
Council is requested to approve the FY 2023 surplus projection plan as drafted by staff.
Also from finance, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the FY 2023 surplus projection plan as presented in your packet.
Motion from Mr. Reynolds. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. King. Any discussion? Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to make a request prior to the vote that staff look at updating our policy as it pertains to comp time. I think some of us thought that we had that, but upon research, it needs to be clarified. So if y'all could work on that and bring that back through finance and policy within a reasonable amount of time so we can get that addressed finally.
All good.
Thank you. I did not add everything up. So I see that we're projecting a surplus between 2.8 million and 3.3 million. And then we have the list of projects listed underneath. Does anybody know what the total is of those projects?
Roughly 1.76 something. Just off the top of my head.
That was my only question.
Mr.
Reynolds.
Thank you. And to follow up with that, one of the points of that was because there are a number of allocated items in here with an allotted amount, leaving the last one, the allocated to capital fund balance, would be whatever that remaining is. So because we're still currently not sure what the surplus will be, it'll vary. It could vary upwards of $500,000. So with that, it gives us a clean slate. And this also is not budgetary. This is strictly making sure staff has a direction of what council would like to do with remaining surplus funds, which hasn't always been done in the past.
And Mr. Mayor, just to answer Mr. Allgood's question, it adds up to 2.69 million. So under that 2.8 million number. So we will be still adding more to the balance once all the final figures.
I wondered about your math because you had a big one in there at one point.
Wait, 1 minute.
I had my shoes on, so I couldn't carry the one.
Totally understood. I didn't want to put that on record that I was wondering about your math, though. That's why I didn't say anything.
Graduated Hillcrest. What do you want?
And one other quick comment, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Reynolds.
Again, in thinking this through with staff, this is something that I appreciate that we can look and try to just have a plan for, with unallocated funds or surpluses that those don't just get thrown into a pot and disappear. This is something that we can look at and say, here are council goals. Several of these are taken from council goal and several of them are things that, frankly, are just unthought of until they come up. So I can appreciate staff putting this together and council's supporting moving forward with this.
To that point, I don't have a problem with any of these projects, but I would bring up that we did have a tough conversation a couple months ago when we were talking about finding funds to be able to match a grant for stormwater. And just want to make sure that we are still considering what our next projects will be, because we were talking about a list of 6 or 8 projects and that kind of caught us off guard. And so I want to make sure that we continue to push forward with that and that that's in the plan somewhere, shape or form, whether it's this plan or another.
Much as I pick on her, you know, I have the utmost respect for Miss Holly, and knowing that she's on this, and we wouldn't be as where we're at today without her leadership and her sharp pencil and eraser. So appreciate that, and with Mr. Duncan on board, so it does bode well for our city. So we appreciate that very much. Thank you, Holly. Any other discussion? Hearing none, the motion to approve the FY 2023 surplus projection plan as drafted by staff. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Ms. Miller. Leave this meeting, didn't it? So. All right, the next item coming before us is, it was laid off the press, if you will. So we're not able to get it through a committee. So it would be asking this body to consider the next item that I'll ask Mr. Duncan to present via the informal method. Is motion for informal method.
So moved.
So move Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Reynolds. All right, all those in favor of the consideration of the informal method, next item on the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Here none, we will consider ourselves as committee whole via the informal method for item J. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council may recall a few months back, we approved a resolution in acceptance of the South Carolina Officer Resilience Grant for Stormwater Infrastructure Program. It was called ASIP. Part of that was requiring, and this was $1.166 million match for stormwater for the Oak Park project. And so because this project is being completely managed and operated by the state, it does run a little bit differently than our other grants that we receive, where we are managing them in-house or through agreements and contracts. With this one, because KCI was the entity, our stormwater on-call engineer that did our application package and helped us get the grant, they actually can still be attached to the project, but our required match of 1.16 million can't go to, or the grant dollars that they're providing can't go to pay for KCI. So what they've done is they've changed the award. They're still matching 1.166 million. We're still contributing that amount of money, but our required match is being dropped by the amount that we'll be paying to KCI. So our match requirement is now $676,153.50. The bottom line numbers stay the same. This is more of an administrative change to the resolution that we had passed and accepted the grant award. Operationally, monetarily, nothing changes. We're just updating the language to more accurate, or to accurately reflect our match requirement. in the final documentations for the Office of Resilience.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Is there any questions? And I would imagine this will be Public Works, so that would be Mr. Rayland.
Yeah.
I would refer to you first if you wanted to entertain a motion.
This time I'd like to make a motion to amend the resolution for acceptance of the funds for the Oak Park Stormwater Project. Not getting the details as stated by Mr. Fleeman. Sorry, Mr. Duncan.
All right, thanks, Mr. Craylon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Reynolds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to amend the resolution for acceptance and funding of the Oak Park Stormwater Project as detailed by Mr. Duncan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Unanimous. Okay. I believe that concludes our agenda items with the exception of our next public comment section. The only person signed up is Mr. Heiss, and I believe he has heard the rules of public comment for many, many years, so I'll defer reading all that back to him. You'll just approach the microphone, be sure it's got a green light turned on, bring it down. All right, just press the button, turn it red. Military guys.
Okay, now it's green.
Green means you're good to go, red means you're dead, so you're good there, right?
All right.
State your name and your address, please, sir.
Raleigh Highest, 104 Swinton Drive. First of all, I want to thank, the city administrator and council and everybody for getting that grant for sidewalks and everything. That really come in handy. My biggest problem is, the bridge in Miller Road, of course. We have a, problem now is, the young people are going up and down that road. They're walking in the road now because vegetation has grown up on both sides of the road. And the only way they can get down the road is walk in the road. And so when school is out, it is a, oh, I cannot say what I think it is, but we have a problem. And I would suggest that maybe we go to the state or city could do it and charge the state or whatever. We gotta clean that road up both sides and make it a path of some kind to give it a safety for the young people that's using it. So do all you can in the future and take part of that grant. Maybe we can get some sidewalks or something on that road. Thank you very much.
I believe I defer that to, well, I'll wait to council concerns. Anyone else signed up, raising their hand? None? All right, so that's the end of public comment. Council concerns. Mr. Allgood.
I just wanted to make a quick comment with the gentleman who just spoke. The bridge that he's referring to is the one that's heading toward the Great Wall,
Yes.
a little one. Got it. Thank you.
Good. And that's, I would ask us to look at it. We have had many discussions over the last few weeks as to a state DOT road and who owns the vegetation on the edge of the state DOT road and the state right of way on the edge of a state road. So we kind of know who owns it. We're very familiar with submitting not purchase order, work order requests to state and county. And, I can tell you that as we wait on that and the vegetation gets deeper and deeper, our public works, Mr. Fleeman even gets his own, not his personal one, but a city-owned weed whacker. And he goes out there and cleans the, kudzu off the sidewalks and the vegetation. And so you will see him on the side of the road working also. And as many times as I pick on him just publicly tonight, I appreciate everything he does. And it is hot out there and he's still out there and his crews are out there. So Other than that, my concern is, Mr. Duncan, that we get it looked at, but I know where it's going. So I appreciate that. Any other concerns? Hear none. What I hear on adjournment.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none. We stand adjourned approximately 8 PM.